Hello, all. This is my first recording with another person on the line. We have the wonderful Piggyman.
I think,
Nice. And we're going to be talking about his our match in TTAC round two today. This was going into the games sets two and three. I had won set one, and Piggy is going to launch a comeback here, starting with the closed game. So you mentioned that one thing really interesting was playing with same wall but no plus wall. What kind of directions did that lead you?
yeah, I felt like, yeah, it's very unusual to have a rule set with same wall but no plus wall, especially at these high levels. And I felt like I wanted symmetry with my corners. So, like the kind of double Una pairing, the FF10, FF10-2 Una, that was something that I know that you had used in a prior game too. Um, just because of the ease with which they can capture each other.
Yeah, I had written them off because I had misread the rule set as plus wall, not same wall. And I had thought with no same wall, they're not a good pairing at all, right? You know.
Very unfortunate.
So then we played the first game, and I saw I had the rule set wrong, and I thought, oh no, I get it. I have to use them. And I used them, and I think you played around them nicely, making sure to block squares they had combo potential.
Hmm.
And I thought it would be too predictable to run them back, so I went for another pairing. And I also thought from our first game that double numbers might have more effect than I had originally thought. There were a bunch of spots with kind of multiple tens hanging out.
I felt that too, actually, because when I first started making a hand around the rule set, I was thinking of some kind of side starter, like something in 2, 4, 6, 8 that could be recaptured with another A out facing. Um, but then I started, kind of thinking beyond that and like thinking, what's the logical continuation from there? Well, they're probably going to form an L.
Right.
If you have those kind of double numbers like Marl has here, the A55, they can suddenly get a lot of play.
Yeah. I was so happy I had figured out to use Marl here, and then you used her too, and I was very sad. Made a bunch of
Yeah,
hard
as we'll
reads
see.
this game. Yeah. So now we can't see your hand here, but I want to skip ahead to your first move. Do you have any
Mm.
thoughts you want to share here?
So it started here with lightning in 5. I find generally starting in 5 can be strong in a closed setting, and I figured I had enough recaptures of lightning in every direction that I felt safe making the move.
So I assumed at this point that you had gone one vertical and four cards for the corners.
That's a correct assumption.
Yeah. But as we'll get to in a bit, I did not read those four cards very well. Um, so I thought, because in the first game you played like A8 6 5s, an A8 7 4, and an A9 7 1, as well as one of the Unas, that you had not, both neither of us had decided to go with double numbers. So I thought having a 10 facing the 10 where I could recapture, you were unlikely to have the same square. Which is why I
I
played my.
remember in one of your videos you mentioned something to the effect that like I'm a hand tweaker and that I have the tendency to kind of just change out 1, 2 cards in card select based on what I considered was effective or not. And when you said that, I was like, oh, I hadn't really consciously thought of that, but yeah, that really is what I do.
Well,
And it, go ahead.
oh, no, no, no. I was going to say, it didn't feel like you had tweaked this game to me. It felt like I was playing a new hand because cards that were similar I saw so late.
Okay, okay, yeah. So you got to be unpredictable and close. You know what I'm saying?
But I was trying to do that. I also thought with no plus wall on, setting up something where I could play safely in four seemed beneficial to me.
Hmm.
Right? I thought you probably don't have two, and I have a really strong move in four, and if you don't have two, you could be just in a ton of trouble after going in nine.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially since there's not that many cards that I could realistically have that would have the plus in 2.
My other read was that you don't use FF13 cards, but that was clearly wrong from your starter, so I don't know why I held on to that.
I like that. You think I have biases towards the decks I pick?
I think when I saw Luca in the first game we played, I was like, he plays cards he likes, you know?
I mean, there is some truth to that. I won't deny that.
It was good because it led me on these totally wrong reads, as we'll see even more. So
I feel like after your move here in 1, um, well, I guess you can go ahead and show what the next move is, but my instinct originally was definitely to kind of play in 9. I figure if I play in 9, like I actually did not have any combo or anything really in 6, but I felt like I didn't need one. I had a combo in 8 here, but I just felt like it kind of gave me enough control of the board state and that I could essentially create a pretty safe and possibly advantageous position for myself.
I also like I don't know if this was your thought process, but like 1 is blocked and you immediately got the card for 1 out of your hand.
Yeah, that's it too. It makes Yuna have more power or less power, sorry, on the remaining squares on the board.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep it for the possibility of the same wall in 6, but I didn't really see how that was gonna pan out.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with how I play closed, but I never go in corners here, right? I always go in a side. So
Creating like
usually,
a J structure.
no. I sorry. I meant after 159, I will always go in 2, 4, 6, or 8,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and I think 6 is a square that's somewhat likely to be blocked quickly against me,
Yeah.
particularly. At this point,
Yeah.
I put you on a hard read as you're playing FF10 Una, which turned out to be wrong. I put it as, okay, there's a same in 8, I get it. He's moved on to doing the double Una hand.
I was tempted, but I thought that how do you pronounce it? Ariana? I've not played that game. I have no idea how to pronounce that card, but I
I
felt like it had more strength overall.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's Arania, but I could be completely wrong. I have not played it either.
Yeah,
We
take
can
your word
both
for it.
bemoan the downfall of FF games.
Right? Where's the good old days?
But you like 12.
I actually did like 12, but I think 12, like I feel like I liked it in spite of its gameplay. I feel like I liked it because of how like fast and like beautiful the world building is. Like I spent literally hours just like reading through like bestiary entries and like it felt like an encyclopedia, and that's what I liked about it.
You've talked about you do the thing I think like speedrunners do too, where there's the over level spot early.
Yes, I do that so that I wouldn't have to play the game.
Right? It's a good take on FF12.
I'm realizing I'm probably not doing it any services by talking about it like this, but I truly think it is a good game.
Yeah, no, I always find your arguments fun and compelling. Though then I like have to disagree with them usually, but
Mm-hmm.
because we're partisans for different games.
That's it.
Like we have this deep opposition where I think FF7 is the best game and FF10 is maybe second place, and you think basically the opposite. Maybe you have FF7 a little
Second
lower, but
place?
you have it in
Yeah.
the conversation for second, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Top 3.
Top 3. What's second then?
Leaning 9. Final Fantasy 9 is a classic.
I think FF Tactics might be my second nowadays.
Oh well, if we're including Tactics 2, yeah, that one too maybe slips into top 3.
All right, I'm gonna go to my next move because I thought it was a really good move.
I mean, in theory, it's a really good move when you're assuming that I don't have the plus in 2, and I think this is just like the unluckiness of close coming into play.
Yeah, I just thought, like, what's the choice here? This move is so good when it works, and even when it doesn't work, like, what are the odds, like, you have a card that and I should have known what the odds were you'd have a good card in 2 because I've seen, like, the 2 cards for 2 are Marl and Fang, right? And
Were
Marl
those pretty much the only ones that could have been?
oh, Ayla as well.
Oh, see, Chrono Trigger, yeah, yeah.
But I didn't think you were gonna run Ayla much, which sort of will contradict something I say later. But I thought it's hard to run 5599 with no plus wall, right?
Mm, it's scary to use for sure.
But sadly, you had also decided double numbers were good to have some of.
A fortuitous choice on my part.
Oh, it was very good. Do you have any comments here?
Yeah, no, I just felt like this was the obvious move. A part of me was scared that you might have a combo in six. I didn't have one, and you could possibly kind of like leave me in a position where I'm hoping for a tie if you had like the way to flip Marl and everything, because obviously I couldn't take Marl back if it got flipped somehow.
Right.
But I felt pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Probably felt more comfortable when I ran down to like 10 seconds here.
Oh,
But so I've used all my right power, which is kind of a bummer, or most of it. And because I had put you on a hard read of Yuna, I thought if I go maybe this was dumb. I was thinking if I go 7 and you can put kind of if your corner card for 3, because you have corner cards for 3 and 9 remaining. If your corner card for 3 has a 9 down, I just lose on the spot. I thought. But because I don't have the combo in 8. If that makes sense.
yeah. Especially too because if you put Fang in six, like it's like there's no chance that I have another card that could plus two A's like that.
Right. And I thought about starting Fang in 6, but like even if you can't take it, like you could go 8 and I lose on the spot because I have no captures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and it becomes pretty scary for you.
so I eventually decided the call has to be, and I know you don't have that much right power left, or I was confident because you have remaining corners for 3 and 9.
Yeah. So what's
So
interesting about the last two cards I had, in fact, was that while they were corners, they actually did have quite a bit of bright power.
yeah, just real bummer for me. Uh, so I needed Fang to go in 6, so I was deciding between 5-7 A7 and 4-5-9 A and 8. And I came up with 2 cards you could have for 3, Ayla or Maria. And if you have Maria, the 4-7-8 A, Maria Balthazar, I should play 4-5-9 A. And if you have Ayla or something like it, 5-5-9-9, I should play with the 7 to the left. And I think I should just go to the 10 left. Like, Ayla's got to be so much less likely on the set. But then I started looking at your Marl and thinking maybe he was seeing the same wall synergies and the same synergies with all the 5s. And I,
Mm-hmm.
and I went wrong.
I almost wonder if it would have been if you went Alma in 8. I'm wondering, like, if I like put what's Ariana, whatever her name is, in 6. Or well, no, actually, you would have used Alma because I was like, oh man, that would have been a nasty same there.
Yeah, right. But I can't force it. Yeah.
Yeah, tough spot for sure.
So I picked wrong, and then you played the card that really, really hurt after it. So I go here. And then you use a card that had a same wall against it. Oops. That went back too far. You play Arania here.
Yeah, you got to believe if he didn't do it right away, well, it just means he's waiting to do it on the last move.
Yeah, which just like at this point, I know you have Maria, and it's over.
Yeah, I was a little blessed by closed here.
No, but you played a second turn closed and did much better than I did. I don't think I have any excuses here. I think you played a nice game.
Thank you.
Do you have any other comments on it? I should probably talk less. I'm a talker.
Oh, no, no, no. You do this normally. This is like my first ring in this arena, so I'm happy to let you take the lead. But no further comments. We can head over to the next game.
All right. So the next game, I should say in advance, you had just amazing sportsmanship for, which was after the game, you noticed that you had ran 2 FF4 cards, I think.
Yeah, I ran 3.
Wow, what a cheater.
Dirty cheater.
I was thinking, I know the second card's Xenogears, a game you love, and the fourth card's FF8, so 2 of the others are FF4, but I guess all 3 are?
I do need to just put it out on the record for anyone listening. Xenogears is not a good game. Was just trying to spread some lies right now. I loathe it, but it's got some extremely powerful cards. In my opinion, Xenogears is one of the most OP decks in all of Triple Triad Advance.
I've always
Sorry,
liked it
had to go on that tangent.
No, that's fair. I've always liked it because I think of it as having no rares because I forget Power Seraph exists, and I don't like rares. Power
Isn't there
Seraph.
another one too, Esmeralda?
That's a very
Or
good point.
Emeralda?
No, that's a very good point. All right, so I just don't have cards.
I mean, I didn't say anything. we can start with the announcement.
All right, so a few points if this comes out after my video doing the games live. I had played this hand against you in a previous game. We'd already played 2 games on this set, and the first one had gone 3-5-1, and you had played a very logical move in 2, and then I had a bunch of paths that never looked like they put any pressure, and I picked one uncomfortable tie rather than another uncomfortable tie. And I think you,
Okay.
I thought that game you were a little ahead. I don't know if you remember that one.
Truthfully, I do not remember it that clearly. If I saw the game and like the card like state, I would probably be able to tell you the card order, but not off the top of my head.
And then this second game, you started with a big corner in 3, and I had a setup move in 5. And I decided at that point you had a weakness I should exploit, which clearly I hugely failed to do. And in fact, I think I did the same flaw I thought was a weakness in your game and was duly punished. But I thought you were too prone to use very large corners that I had combo play against, and then you could never play near for fear of being comboed back.
I feel like there are times when starting a strong corner makes a lot of sense, but like I think in the match that I've had with Midas, I was using what is it, the 9934 Duke, the Suikoden 3 Duke card, and I was just plugging it into 7. And I was thinking like, oh, I've got my recaptures on both sides. I don't need to worry. But we've had like 10 ties so far in that match, but as I was playing, I was like, wait a minute, like I really feel like this strong corner is not getting me any advantages. And I started to kind of like try to find other avenues to get an advantage.
Watching the games of those that I watched, I thought those were the games you were behind, and the other games you tended to be pressing.
Yeah.
And so that helped really drill it into my mind as this is a potential weakness to target, which I did not remotely succeed in doing. But that was my hope of something to play against at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran this hand back because it had gotten an advantage that game. I think you found a really nice tie, but in that one, I had thought I was winning after I went in 8. Last time I thought I was winning after a move in a match with you, I also went on to lose that match. So gotta stop doing that.
Nah, you can keep doing it all you want. It's no problem.
Very much appreciated. I should also note this rule set has no S. This was plus wall combo elemental. The other thing I noted was you paid a lot more attention than I did to try to have elements on your cards. I refuse to do such, villainous things, but I did note it.
Yeah, I feel like when the elemental is on, like part of the strategy with hand making has to be taking into consideration the elements, and not just like the elements, but having a variety of elements too, because it just feels like it gives your hand more flexibility, more power. There's really no guarantee that an element will serve you well. Like my hand right now, I've got bomb with the fire elemental. Like if fire elemental shows up in 3, well, that's not that but just by having elementals, you give yourself a chance to play in more powerful positions.
My 8753 has some empathy for what you just said.
Say again, sorry?
My 8753 feels what you just said with the elemental in 3 here.
Yeah, it has two. Is that a card with two elementals, or?
I wasn't sure. The first game we played, I picked one tie over another because if it had the dual elemental dark, I would lose the other path.
Okay.
And so I picked the tie because I wasn't sure whether it was dual elemental or not. I picked the one that tied against both.
Right.
You really should have
There's-
all information available on the cards.
Yeah, that is something that I think, especially with these dual elemental cards, that is a change that I would suggest to be made, is that it's always visible what the elements are. There's one card too, I think it's an FF5. There's a card that has 4 elements.
Like
and
Steel
that to
Guardian?
me is kind of, yeah, I think that's kind of zany. I think that's a bit too much power into one card, especially that it's such a unique case.
Yeah, it feels like a card that if the rule set is elemental, and it's already got very good numbers for its level. I think it's like I'm thinking it's like the level 6 and it's an 8753.
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And already, as you say, 8753 is probably some of the, like, it's probably the single strongest values you can have on a level 6.
Yeah. So like there's no set with elemental where you should not run that card.
Pretty much. And then here we are, neither of us running it.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
It's because we're better than that. We have to aspire to greater things.
I like that. Yep. So,
all right, let's start this game.
All right. I had first turn. I found nothing I liked. I thought you were weaker down than other directions. And so I thought I will try to make the game a little downward tilted. But I was not finding things that lined up well.
Okay.
I also had the concept of maybe I should start at the top because if Ifrit and Bomb remain at the end, whoever has last turn has a huge advantage in that matchup. But I ended up not being all that convinced.
Yeah, I had a bit of a hard time finding a move after this. I wasn't really sure how to play around it or if I should even try to play against it. But something I started focusing in on was the elementals, and obviously the only elemental I had to make use of here was Jero Jero, the 1883. And I thought, like, that's when I started looking at the move that I made, which it was Bomb 1. And the beautiful elemental here, like in both 2 and 4, just make it near untouchable with the +1. So I figured whichever way you tried to capture, or like if you tried to come on or attack the bomb card, I felt like I had a lot of avenues for counterplay.
Yeah. That makes sense. Obviously, how the game played out, this sounds somewhat silly, but I felt at the time this was really not pressuring and gave me kind of free room. Because I felt like my 4876 has the recaptures down. You have given up some threat against my starter, and I don't think you want to use up 1883 and 8. So I was really drawn to just blocking 6 because I didn't feel I had to approach your card. And I felt if you took me an 8, then I could play something like 8753 and 7, and that would be safe. And then Bomb would be a weakness for you, and I wouldn't necessarily have any weaknesses to defend myself. So I got really high on Ifrit and 6, and I checked 8, and I checked 3, and then I checked you had a 1883 and 2 as a way to set up a plus and 5. And I thought that looked a little scary, but I thought I had moves in 4-8 because you didn't have any threat in 3, and I had 4876 sort of working in 3, so I wasn't too worried, and I just completely missed the actual threat there.
I find it interesting sometimes when I watch your videos. I will like see and hear you kind of like voice your thoughts, and you'll like talk about moves you think your opponent might play, or like I'm expecting this, or like possibly this. Whereas like I feel like I don't do that quite as much. Like when you play, when you ended up playing your next move, I like can't really say that I expected it, nor that I like think too much of it. Like, especially I guess in the early game when there's so many possible moves, I kind of have this mentality of just like I'm gonna play a move that I think is strong, and I'll just see how they respond to it.
Hmm. That's interesting. I think I think one part of that is you have this very like interesting focus on your own cards. That doesn't mean you don't like look at um that doesn't mean you don't like look at what the other person has, but that you're I thought rule sets without same would be bad for you, is I guess what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I do remember writing an article on a Cult Fan throwback
Yeah.
about how same is the like best rule and how the safety it creates. Um, so I get what you mean there. I would say no same does kind of lead me away from having symmetry in my hand. It does
Mm.
kind of like tell me like try to vary up the values in your hand a bit.
Yeah, and I think you did a nice job of that here. Um, I do
Well,
think
thank you.
when I'm playing at my best, the lines I see are really good. And when I'm playing not at my best, the lines I see go fairly long, but aren't necessarily all that relevant to the actual game. Um,
I
did
know
you?
that feeling.
I know you've done some chess stuff. Did you ever watch the Kramnik interviews from like the 2013 candidates or 2016 candidates? Some candidates where just
I can't say. Sorry, go ahead.
every position he gets, he just evaluates his winning in the post game analysis, and the computer's like, he's slightly worse, he might be losing, and he's like, it's unbelievable, I'm not completely winning here. And and then he gives all these long variations, and like Carlson is given quotes after being like, none of those made any sense. They had nothing to do with the position. He's just saying lots of moves in a row. I think sometimes
So
I can do that.
he's looking long term and thinking he's got like an advantage, and then the chess computer is basically just saying, "Nah, it's terrible."
Yeah, and there one of the more famous ones because Ding speaks kind of broken English and doesn't speak much. So Kramnik's like going, "It's unbelievable. I'm not completely winning here." And the interviewer goes, "What do you think, Ding?" And he goes, "No." Like,
Wow, frank response.
yeah. So I can have habits in that direction too. Though I like to think most of the lines I give are on point.
I mean, sometimes too, like you're looking through like everything, and everything makes sense, and then you're like, "Oh, there was a plus wall there," and it'll be like a crazy plus wall, like 9 off of 2 with a 1 or something like that.
Right. So I go in 6, and I'm thinking I don't think you have good play in 8. If you go in 8, I go 7. I'm safe. You don't have a good move in 5 there, I don't think. Like, you might have a tie, but it's sketchy at best. You have nothing else to attack if it's not 5, so I'm in a great spot there. If you go 3, anything you put in 3, I have ways to take, right? And I have ways to take depending what you put that may or may not allow combos, but my pressure there gives me time to do other stuff. And that 1, 8, 8, 3, and 2 is not that scary. So I thought I'm just pushing here. And
Hmm.
I was completely wrong.
Yeah. I think I actually played my next move pretty quickly here. Once I saw the 5587 in 2, it just made way too much sense. Like the double combo with Ogo Pogo, the 6648 is pretty scary here.
And I did exactly the thing I was trying to exploit on you, which is I made a huge corner that you would combo play against, and now I can't go near.
The tides turn.
Exactly. So it really hurt. And I don't think I have a tie here.
Yeah, I don't think you do either. I was thinking like I was like you obviously have to block either like 3 or 5 because if I just end up with both those squares available at the end, I win.
Yeah.
But I think that even if you like tried to block one of those, it would have conceded too much.
So if I play like 3, 6, 8, 6, and 3, a card that's probably not going to have much use elsewhere, um, you take 5, you go up 7, 3, And then if I play, something like 4, 8, 7, 6, and 8, I don't even take anything, and 1, 8, 8, 3 is untouchable in 4, as you planned and pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go in 4 first, I can double capture with 4, 8, 7, 6, and it's 5, 5. But then the element really screws me over. 8, 6, 1, 6, and 8 makes it 6, 4, and I can't capture that with my 8. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't capture
I
that with my 7. Oh, but I have a plus wall. I didn't realize I had a plus wall.
which where's the plus one on the 8616?
Yeah. Does that
The
work?
8753.
Am I making stuff up? Oh, you can play 8616 and 7 though, and you take 4. And I've already taken 5, so I don't recapture anything back.
I think that was a similar continuation into what actually happened in the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just reverse the move order. Yeah, nice call. Yeah. So I don't think I have a save here.
I'm not sure you do, and I know that you use pretty much every second on the clock for this move too. I was actually a little worried you were going to time out.
I came close another point as well on that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything now either. So I played in a 4, and if you want to explain your straightforward thought process here.
Yeah, the Pogo so powerful in 3 and 5. As long as those two squares stay open till the very end, I have the combos. I have just everything. So I was like, do I play in 8 or 7? And Maggot Sisters in 7 seemed pretty safe. You could take back with the 3686, but it didn't matter because Ogo Pogo in the end is too strong.
But my 8753 is a +1 and 3.
Oh yeah, that's sometimes the elementals they bless you like that.
I think my actual hope here was that you could get somewhat scared that 5 mattered, but I don't know why you would.
Yeah, no, there was I did notice the 3686 having play in 5, but yeah, I didn't. I was focused on the 3 and the 5 and just leaving those open.
Yeah, so you correctly played in 7, and I decided to lose this way. And then you showed, I think, tremendous sportsmanship, because I would not have noticed.
Yeah, I mean, played with a wrong hand. Like, that's, like, I would refuse to take a win like that.
Luckily, you may have still got there. So we switched up the hands here. And I went back to the hand I'd used in the first game, and you brought out a new hand.
I kind of I liked the Ogo Pogo. I thought it was very powerful, but I wanted to try to switch things up a bit.
And so I noticed 8656 was gonna, like, my hand's not great side to side, and was gonna be very safe on the bottom row. It's very hard for me to take 7, like 6 plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy for me to take 8s, but it's very hard for me to take 7s.
True.
Because I'm landing on -1s so often as well, so my 8s don't even overpower. But I thought after my starter 5, 1, 8, 8, and 3 that you have one way to take in 6, but you don't have any captures from 2, and it's very hard for you to set up a capture from 2. And if you did, you'd have to use the 8656, which was the card I was really terrified of in 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I thought I was in a good spot.
Yeah, no, my initial thoughts against this move were that, like, wow, that's a pretty safe card. I don't really have too many ways to take it. I don't even really have any way to set up a plus or anything off of 5 or even 2, I think. Or I think I had 1, 2, but it didn't make too much sense in my head. So I started looking elsewhere, trying to play away, trying to play with my own cards, as I am wont to do, as you've noted. And that's when I spotted my next move, which is 492 Elaine in 4. Because I noticed that the 8656 is actually safe in both 1 and 7
Yeah.
against pretty much all your cards, and I was like, oh, this is insane. Like, how is he gonna respond to this?
So actually, one of the lines I calculated was I go three, you go one, but don't you play a 4, 9, 8, 2, and one, um, with the point that I don't have anything good for two. But you don't have anything for two, so I'd block six, and then you'd block four, and this kind of reached potentially that same kind of position where there's a chance I play in six and you go in one, um, but with the sequence of cards being better for you with stronger outfacing numbers.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I guess I actually do have the recapture with Chupon, the 5, 3, 8, 6 in 2 for Elaine. Uh, but I guess I feel like it didn't really create enough opportunities.
yeah, I think this was a better version of a similar idea, and I thought I should go six just logically here. Like you don't have the threat in two. I think I should go six, but I think I should have used 9, 9, 5, 3. I think I really did a bad job of identifying which card I wanted to keep in my hand. Um, and maybe I should just go 2, 8, 8, 4. I thought that has the plus wall threat in one. For some reason, I forgot 8, 6, 1, 6 had the plus wall threat in seven. Just forgot. 5, 7, 5, 7 seems such a useful side to side sweeper now that the game's made side to side. So I think I should have been choosing between. I think I should have chosen 9, 9, 5, 3 for six.
Yeah, possibly. And I mean, it's tough too to like give up your much stronger, higher leveled card,
Right.
but that is sometimes the move. I'm not sure if it would have made a difference though, honestly.
Yeah, no, I very easily could have had the exact same problem here. Um, yeah, so let's get into what the problem was. So I went in six with 8, 6, 1, 6, which I think importantly gives up having a capture in seven. And I think as the top filled up, that would have been a better card to have in my hand than, say, the 9, 9, 5, 3.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's yeah, definitely a reason why the 9953 might have been better in 6.
Because that card ended up feeling kind of dead in a bunch of lines. And then you found a move I think we both think was winning here.
Yeah. So my next move, I with the A8656 in 1, just a safe card that can't be taken thanks to the elemental. And now since the 8616 is out of your hand, I have 2 cards that are essentially locked in.
Yeah. So a move we both looked at here was 5, 7, 5, 7, and 8.
Yeah, that
Which,
looked somewhat interesting because of the plus it creates in 5 for you. Um, but I'm not sure. I feel like I feel like I can just play in like 5 or something, or even maybe in and just block it and probably have enough captures in the end.
yeah, I thought you could just take the plus and two actually, because you've set up a plus and two as well, which we haven't mentioned yet, I don't think.
The Ogopogo, yeah, that's
Yeah,
another bonus of this move.
because I have that plus and five, but my plus doesn't take Ogopogo, right? My 2, 8, 8, 4 doesn't take that, and
It's funny, even with the -1, yeah,
yeah.
Raijin Fujin just a bit too weak there.
Um, Looked at 7, 9. At first, I thought I had a tie just going in two, kind of sacking everything. If I play a 2, 8, 8, 4 and two, presumably you play 8, 7, 5, 3 and five, and go up 7, 3. And then I thought I could play 5, 7, 5, 7 in nine, and 9, 9, 5, 3 would have a capture, but you have a plus and eight against my seven with 5, 3, 8, 6,
Hmm.
and that's when
I
I got
feel,
really worried.
yeah, I feel like actually all the cards in my hand really kind of worked well off of each other this game.
I was surprised how well because oftentimes like opposites don't work that well with same off, right? But 8753 and 5368, because the side to side has plus wall synergy both ways, and the top and bottom kind of hit some nice pluses against numbers that are likely to be around. I thought they worked really, really wonderfully together.
So your next move, I think, was another one that was down to the wire on time. Probably, I'm guessing you're just struggling to find possibilities.
Yeah. Let's see how low. Sorry, the thing is over. All right. I have to wait before I made the move. All right. So it was definitely. I thought I went down to like 20 seconds here. Yeah. All right. So at least under 20.
Yeah.
I just.
And for this move, it was pretty much the first. I'm sure there was lots of wins here, in fact, but I just picked the first move that I looked at, which was Chump in 5. Just calculated it out that it was winning.
My hope for a trick was you go 8753 and 5, and I play a 2884 and 9, and I have plus or plus wall against either of your cards in 8.
But yeah, that would have been savage.
Yeah. So that was my one, like, maybe there's a clever here. But
I know, yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like too, like even in a losing position, I'll always look for like the Hail Mary. I'll be like, what's the move that they might like possibly overlook something with?
But you very rudely looked at a better move first, and it makes sense. I have no ups. Yeah. So you played in 5, and I probably stared at this position longer than I should have. And eventually, I don't even remember how. I guess I started in 7, and you took in 9, going up 7-3 again, and I take 1 back, and I lose 6-4.
Good games.
Yeah. Though notably, I complained recently about having lost 2 games in a row. This was more than 2. It's pretty rough.
We all have our rough patches.
Yeah, but I thought you played awesome. And I think both in like playing offbeat moves, meeting 3 with 4 is the rarest response type, right? The far side against a corner. The previous game doing this kind of weak far corner that wasn't even challenging for me to take, but gave you nice potential, really spotting those elementals. I thought you played awesome. And
I think that interestingly is the fact that Elemental was on that kind of made me see some of these more offbeat moves because of the power that, for example, in this game, the fire elementals gave my 8656. I really should learn the names of these Xenogear cards, but I can't be bothered.
might be Seraphita, might not be.
I'll take your word for it.
You could just play the wonderful game Xenogears.
I can't get past the encounter rate in that game.
The encounter rate stuff
is too high. It's such drudgery trying to get from one place to another.
I don't mean this as a gotcha, but I feel like Skies of Arcadia has a really high encounter rate, and I know you love that game.
Like it because I played the GameCube version, which lowered the encounter rate compared to the Dreamcast version.
All right.
But I have heard similar complaints for Skies of Arcadia.
I should play that sometime.
Yeah, I recommend it.
And I've liked your recommendations in the past. I played Lunar based on you saying it was great.
Yeah, Lunar is a fantastic. It's a hidden gem in terms of RPGs.
And I liked something you pointed out of like normally in a kind of turn-based RPGs, there aren't like tells to what a boss is going to do next that aren't really blatant and not usually very appealing. But that game does it very cleverly and nicely.
Like these subtle things that you're like, oh, he's doing that, then I gotta get ready. He's gonna unleash his big attack or whatever. And the bosses are actually challenging enough that like you don't have too much leeway if you get caught with your pants down against like one of their strong attacks.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good game.
Well, hey, this was fun.
Yeah. Thanks so much for doing this. Congrats on the win, obviously, and I hope you go on to win the tournament, if only for my ego, which is a little shattered right now.
Well, hey, I'll do my best for you.
Um, but yeah, thought you played great, and I liked talking Triple Triad with you. Let's do this again sometime. So you can tell me off stream, no, I hated this, but on stream, pretend it went great.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun for me too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Cheers. I'm gonna end the recording now.
Perfect.